I have seen Jesus myself in person, just like you guys are seeing me. When I was 10 years old, me and my twin brother, uh, we used to sleep. Uh, we used to sleep in the living room. So my mom, me and my brother, we were sleeping, and we used to always say the prayer before going to bed. And at the end of the prayer, at that evening, I said, in my mind, I said to God that I want to see Jesus. And as soon as I lay down, I turned my mom's side and I turned back to my brother's side. Jesus was right in front of me, sleeping on his side. So I saw Jesus, and he was sleeping. I don't have a. I was planning to buy a toy so I can show it. Instead of sleeping just like a normal person, like on his back or on his tummy, he was sleeping on his side. So I saw Jesus from his side. I looked at it from his head all the way to his feet. I could barely reach his feet. I was panicking so much, so I just flipped the other side, my mom's side, so I don't see him. I panicked so much, my heart was going to come out of my chest. I was panicking that much. My heart was racing, like it was beating so fast, to the point that it was going to come out of my chest. It was that much. And right after me, my brother was panicking, and I wasn't understanding. All I know is that my mom hand was over me, was going over me, and my mom was saying to my brother, like, calm down, calm down. And maybe 5 minutes later, when this thing finished, my mom took both of us to my dad, who my dad was in another room. So there, or the next few days, because my mom was telling the stories to the neighbor, I learned that right after me that I saw Jesus, my brother saw angels. I did not see any angels. My brother saw it. Is two angels. So I'm going to explain a little bit the difficulty, that I had growing up. Some people are gonna say, well, this is a serious thing. I mean, how many people do you know who has seen Jesus in person? There's hardly anybody. There is few people, I heard. One of it is this Divina Madre group, one of the visionaries. I mean, he see Jesus similar to Magigorgi, kind of. I don't know. He has to explain it. I mean, I guess he seemed like a vision, but he also saw him one time in person. He didn't realize that Jesus was walking among the crowd, and by the time he realized it, he disappeared or something like that. They had that video and they took it out, and I'm not able to find it. Anyway, my point is, let me give my testimony, because I saw Jesus just like you guys are seeing me. Identical. Exactly identical. I mean, not that it looks like me, but identical. A real person like me. The complicated things, the biggest complicated things, I don't even know from where to start. When I became 18, I started to say to myself, because I saw Jesus when I was about 10 years old. So, you're a kid. At that time, you were a kid. When I grew up at about 18, I said to myself, well, I should do something. I seen Jesus myself. I should do something about it. And I did not even know what to do. I started reading the Bible, and I start going to the church. What a disaster. For me it was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. I mean, I know you're not gonna understand, and I wish I had a little model toy. But just imagine you were there that evening with me, right next to me, and just like me, I saw Jesus, and you will see Jesus too. This is much, much, much later in my life that I'm able to put those things together. They show me many things. They taught me some things, and you kind of, it's not a lot. It's a small things, and you have to connect the things together. Try to figure things out yourself. Anyway, you saw Jesus. You were there with me, and you saw Jesus too. Okay. What do you understand? It's much later I came, okay. I said, hey, Pete, now, like, you're not getting it. It's an statement. Well, kind of an statement. You saw Jesus yourself, it's real. Jesus is real. I saw him with my own eyes. He's real. He exists. And most importantly, this resurrection exists. Jesus is resurrected Jesus. And this is not that Lazarus' resurrection. No. Lazarus' resurrection, they made a huge mistake. The Bible made a huge mistake calling Lazarus' resurrection resurrection. That's not the resurrection. Jesus' resurrection is the real resurrection. Lazarus' resurrection, it's not even a resurrection, it's just the guy became alive just like us. One of us was like living, and eventually he started to get older and older and died. And Jesus' resurrection is completely something else. It does look similar. I mean, I have never seen a resurrected person, a dead person resurrected. It will not be proper for me. The few things it will not be proper for me to talk about it at this time. You have to understand God. God has a complete control over everything. Everything, absolutely everything. Whatever it is, they're getting it from God. God himself is giving it. It's coming from God. Jesus' resurrection is from God. God resurrected Jesus. Jesus did not resurrect it himself. This is a little bit theology. I know a lot of people, they're going to start to argue. They're going to make an argument. Jesus is God. People say things like that. You ask me, I say Jesus is not God. People are going to argue with me. Trust me, I have seen God, portion of God, that I did not even know that I was seeing God. God is not human. I know the Bible says the God made the human in the form of his image. But God is not human. One time God told me, explained it, showed me. An angel told me, God is an energy. God showed me one time a very super powerful energy. It's like, how can I say it? You have something that, some metal that glows, complete energy. It's something like that. It's a light that it just emits. It was basically an explanation. It's an energy. But Jesus is a person like me. No, God is God. Jesus is his son. Actually, if you ask me, Jesus is. Look at me. This is coming from a person like me who has seen Jesus and talk with Jesus. Jesus is the Son of God. He is called the Son of God. But actually, Jesus is not the Son of God. The angels gave that title to Jesus, that they gave him the title of the Son of God. He is going to be called the Son of the Most High, Prince of Peace. And that is truly will be his title. A king? Yes, king. Yes, Jesus himself told me about this. He did not use the word Alpha and Omega, but that's what it comes to, Alpha and Omega. Jesus is the Alpha and Omega, and in my opinion, this Alpha Omega, what he means by that is that he's gonna have the last word in everything, whether you get admitted to heaven or not. He's gonna have the last word. That's Alpha and Omega. Whether you be forgiven or not forgiven, I think in everything he's gonna have the last say. He's gonna have the last word on everything. Okay, let's enter the understanding side. I saw Jesus. You were there with me. Let's just talk pretend that you were. Just imagine you were there with me too. You saw Jesus too. Okay, we sing Jesus. Jesus is real. He really is. He really does exist, and this resurrection is real. Okay. What is the next thing? I think many people will do this mistake, I guess with me too, that, oh, you go to the Bible. The Bible is not God. The Bible is just a book that was written by people who had, I don't know, some revelation or some experiences, either with angels or with God, I don't know, but they're writing those things, and with all the stuff that I know right now, it's like, as soon as they start talking, I will like, oh, stop it. In the beginning, you open the Bible, it says, in the beginning, God created the man and the woman, and created the earth, created the moon, created the sun. Okay, fine. And Mr. I don't know who your name is, because there is no name underneath. You don't know who wrote it. Mr. Mysterious Person. If that was the beginning, that means you did not exist either. So how do you know those things happen? So I came with different stuff, I'm not gonna let anybody to take me for gullible. There is many weird things in the Bible. There is some other things I cannot talk about it. You have to kind of put the Bible a little bit, not completely aside, but a little bit on the side, not let the Bible to control you. Like you kind of put, how can I say it, like a security, anything that comes in, you have to stop it, examine it from top to the bottom, examine every single thing. I'm telling you, every single thing. I'm not exaggerating on this. I am not exaggerating on this. Proper or improper, I will talk about this. One of it is circumcision, that God ordered it. I have to go get the Bible to the exact place God apparently told to Moses to do circumcision. Are you sure about that? I mean, are you really sure about that? Nobody knows me. I cannot go into it. The little stuff I tell you, I mean, if somebody shows up and says, you know what, why don't you cut the whole thing altogether? What kind of a baloney stuff is this, man? Somehow it got into the Bible. So the Bible is a Bible. It's kind of a book. You're going to put it aside a little bit, and you're not going to let people just to talk to you and tell you anything they want to. I don't know how it got there. Part of it I know. Probably. I cannot talk about those things. God is God. God is real. Jesus is real. The messages are real. But the messages, even Jesus was having difficulty. I mean, over the years, I mean, you have to go all the way to the beginning, which we cannot. The beginning of the Bible, where even you're gonna pass that. You're gonna go even before the Bible, that the Bible was written. The Bible was written much down in history. So let's say Adam and Eve, which is you ask me, it's just what you call it, it's a parable. It's not a real story. Scientists, they say it was some sort of the people, they got evolved from the monkeys. The Bible says there was only Adam and Eve. Well, obviously, both of them, they cannot be right. One of it is wrong. And the Bible, most of the Bible, the base of the Bible is parable. It's written, most of the section, or a lot of the section is written in parable. And funny enough, you notice that when Jesus was on this earth, he was talking, he was doing his preaching in parables. And this parable was such a new thing of his time, I guess, because he was kind of taking all by surprise. Even his disciples were not understanding, and were taking, when they were going, like when they were in private with Jesus, they were asking him, what was that? What did you say? What is this stuff? And Jesus was explaining them the parables. So even his disciples were not understanding. So imagine if all of us, we are alive, and we show up at Jesus' sermon. So we see Jesus when he was on this earth. He's telling his preaching, and according to the Bible, it was all in parable. Bible says that Jesus never said anything without a parable. Everything that he was saying, it was in parable. So if we were there, all of us, we go there, we show up his sermon. First of all, we are so many, we're thousands of people, so there was no speaker like today's day and age. So all the people who are in the back, they know nobody's going to hear it. Only the people who are in the front, or maybe 20, 30, or 40 feet from him, they're going to hear what he's saying. And whoever is hearing it, they're hearing it in parable. They're not even understanding. I mean, his disciples are not understanding. How are you expecting the regular people to understand? My point is, there is some mysterious things in it. I mean, Jesus is talking in parable, I mean, that's not a mystery. I mean, you're hearing him talking, but it doesn't make sense. God finally sending his son to this world to say things, to explain things, and he's talking in parables. Certainly, just this one of this with the Divina Madre, Jesus said this recently. Had he stayed on this earth the last few days, he said that before his crucifixion, had he stayed another 30 years, 33 years, it will not make any difference at all. It would have not made any difference. Nothing would have changed. That's kind of interesting. It's because behind all this, it's heaven. Yes, Jesus is the front person, but you're not really dealing with Jesus. You're dealing with God. God and his angels, authoritative angels. They kind of like playing a chess, similar to a chess. Like they're the one they're putting it. Yeah, Jesus took all the beating and all the crucifixion on him. He got crucified, but they're kind of, it's like a silent language. They're the one. I mean, you're gonna end up dealing with them. What will happen to you? I don't know. Well, I don't know what will happen to you. The understanding part is extremely complicated. Extremely. I go straight to a point. The whole point is it's all about good and evil. All of it. It's all about good and evil. Parable. Watch this. Jesus got born from Virgin Mary. That Mary was virgin when she became pregnant with Jesus. It's a silent language. You have to. It's not a parable, but it's a silent language. You have to read between the lines. These are the difficult things. It's really difficult. It's not easy. You have to sit down and figure things out. Until now, I still struggle. I still have difficulty. Most of the understanding that I have that it came, I mean, I look at it to myself, I said, a person like me who has seen Jesus should have become a priest. Well, and I look at it at this age, which is much more advanced. I look at it back to my life, let's say, much when I was younger. That's impossible. Impossible. You cannot become a priest. You don't know what to say. We don't know what to talk about it. How can you become a priest? You don't know anything. And the understanding, it came very slowly, very slowly. It's on your own life. Many things. I do not feel comfortable this time to really talk about it. I mean, I went to church for a different reason, and I mean, for a long time. Well, after seeing Jesus, after that, when I was 10, I did not have much experience. I mean, did not see Jesus again. I used to not see Jesus in my dreams. This is only much later in my life that I had something very important, and I went to to the church, ask God's help, and ask some other things. And at around that time, I start to see God in my dream, and it was kind of a surprise because I used to always expected more, maybe to see Jesus because I was more, I'm closer to Jesus. But no, I was seeing God, and God was saying things, and I wasn't understanding. He was talking about different things, not the stuff that I was asking. Uh, the understanding part is extremely complicated, super complicated, super complicated. It's complicated beyond words. Complicated, really complicated. Um, but I put all of those things together. I just can't wrap it up, bring it in one section. Everything is about good and evil. Everything. The entire Jesus' teaching about this wash, what's the name? He said, wash the plate from inside, and the outside of the plate will become clean too. Stay away from Pharisees' dough, and the disciple, they were talking that Jesus was talking about bread. Don't buy bread from Pharisees, and that wasn't was not what he was talking about. He was just saying that to stay away from their poisonous, disgusting mind thinking, their state of mind, evil, always ready, always wanting to hurt somebody, always ready to lie and take advantage of somebody. These are type of that poisonous people, and the entire teaching of Jesus is about this. If you take a class of kids, I don't know how it was in the United States, but with me when I was growing up, the classes, even in Canada, the classes, it's always like you have about maybe 30 kids. Out of the 30 kids, you have few of them are really bad, always one or two. Then you have another 3, 4, 5 that hovers around them. They become kind of in contact with them. They hover together. Then slowly they start making the other kids bad too. They start teaching bad behavior to other kids too, or the other kids, they start to copy them. This is just a small example, but if you really go into details, if you really go into it, let's say you are a teenager, especially when you are a teenager even older than that, some people, they steal. They go to a shopping center, put something in your pocket and steal. And slowly they teach their other friends too to do that too. And the other one teaches the other one, and slowly it becomes a plague. It becomes infiltrated in the society to a point that it's almost like normal behavior or accepted behavior. Not really completely accepted, but let me shoot at the other side. Those elected officials in the United States, they all vote for increasing ticket fines, speeding ticket, red light ticket, things like that. And every single one of them, they go out there, they look the other one, oh, he's increasing the price. Yeah, I'll sign this, I'll increase the price. It's easy. There isn't much people arguing with them. That's evil behavior, because now it's kind of turning it from the what you call it, the surface was, well, we want to punish a person who's has a bad behavior, he's behaving badly, and we're going to punish him. Okay, fine, you want to punish him. Let's say we take a person and we give a little bit of beating. Let's say you propose that. They're going to yell and scream and they're going to jump up and down. They don't want that. Because their mind, their true intention is to take money. Now, slowly, they're increasing the price. Slowly, they're increasing the price. Even though many of them inside, they know that what they're doing is evil, it's becoming evil, it's turning towards the side of evil. Punishing it, it's one thing, but now it's like it's leaning towards another purpose. It's literally becoming like openly stealing. I mean, it's not far from that. So, one elected official, what they call those guys, you have the mayor and you have the other assistant, not assistant mayor, you have assistant mayor and managers and the elected official. One by one they give in, even though knowing that it's not the right thing to do. I'm just giving an example. Jesus' entire teaching, it's not about the bad people. It's about the bad people, no, the other ones that they surround them, the bigger outer circle, that slowly they become infected and they start doing bad things too. And Jesus' entire teaching, it's about this kind of people to clean themselves, to realize that they're in the wrong path. And most importantly, this is not coming from Jesus. The teaching is coming from Jesus, but the action is not coming from Jesus. It's coming from God. God Himself is saying it. This is my way, and this is the way I want you guys to do, to follow. Like, this is my son. One of the passages of the Bible is very clear that the cloud came where Jesus was on the top of a mountain, and a voice came from the cloud saying that this is my son, who I am well pleased. Listen to his words, follow his word, basically. Listen to him, do what he's saying. So it's more of an order from God. It's all of these things is on behalf of God. God Himself is saying that this is the way as a humanity. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's in a statement. This is the way I want you guys to do. This is the way I want you guys to follow. I want you guys to follow Jesus' teaching. Well, Jesus is not here. If Jesus was here in this world, with millions of people, it's going to be difficult. But you can call him and you can ask him questions. You can go consult him, and he'll give you some, ideas with whatever idea he can come up with. God is saying that this is my way, and I want to follow you guys, my son. I want you guys to follow Jesus. The miracles surrounding Jesus, well, one place it says, or many places it says that people were coming and asking things to Jesus, and Jesus replied that no sign will be given to you guys except the Son of the Noah, something like that. The 3 days, the 3 day sun, the 3 day, just like Joe, something like that, uh, that lived in the belly of that fish. So no miracle, no sign is going to be given to you, and many people were coming to see miracle, I guess, so they were not seeing miracles. So how many miracles really Jesus did? I don't know. All the miracles come from God, and it's decided, I guess, in heaven. And there actually, you know what really interests me? Only there is 4 gospels. Only one gospel, uh, John, the Gospel of John, he's calling the miracles a sign. He's not calling the miracles miracle. He's calling it a sign, and that's the correct word for those things. There is no miracle. God doesn't do miracle. He does signs. It's a sign. It's kind of a silent language. So behind it it's really God. That God is real. God really does exist. But that's God. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you either. People, they go to God to ask. A lot of people, millions of people, they go to the church asking God a miracle. They want this. My back hurts. My knee hurts. Like if God had opened a hospital or something. No, you are wrong. You are completely wrong. God had sent many times His apostles, messengers, even people that, because the Bible says clearly some people, priests, they're not going to be entering in heaven, even the one that they're going to argue that we did miracles in your name. And Jesus is going to turn around and say, truly I do not know you guys. The miracle has nothing to do with the front person. I mean, no miracle has ever happened with me, but anyway. Yeah. Has nothing to do with the person. Those are silent things behind it. Behind it, silently, God is making a sign, an affirmance that He is real. He is real and He does exist. Your job is to listen to the messages, kind of. Even the message is difficult. You just have to follow Jesus. Even Jesus is a little bit. There's certain places it's difficult. It's difficult to understand. What you have to do is to understand His mindset, how He thinks, how He's thinking, how He's coming to this conclusions, from where He's bringing it. It's all about good and evil. All of it. It's all about good and evil. They're not going to argue with you. They're not to trust me. All these people, they run around and they call this is a sin, that is a sin. They're all baloney, full of beans, honest to God. They are very workable people, very reasonable. You do bad things, yeah, they will argue with you, but I mean, really, it's all about good and evil. I mean, something that's evil, it's bad. You don't want somebody who's just because he's mad, he goes and scratch your car. Control your behavior. Even if you are angry, control your behavior. Don't scratch somebody's car. Or you're angry, you park your car. One guy irritates you. I know. I mean, it's not easy to. It's easy to say. It's not easy to do. Somebody irritates you on the freeway. He cuts you. You go there and you cut in front of him too. Next thing you know, he cuts in front of you. You cut in front of him. Even that, that kind of a behavior, that kind of driving, one copy the other. or you like once they're not really seating the pedestrian, or the other ones start doing it too. I know there is police department. You do things like that, they can give you a ticket. But there is a lot of things, bad, evil behavior. Let's talk about this one maybe. There is these guys. They goes and buys things from Home Depot. So he go buy the item from Home Depot. He pays it. He goes. Then he goes back in, gets another one. He goes out. They stop him. Here's the receipt. Then later on, he goes with the first one. He returns the item. Finally, they were able to catch up. They were able to figure out, and they catch those people. All I'm saying is, one person does evil, bad things like this, then the other one, they start teaching the other one, then the other one, they start doing it. This is from the side of the regular people, what you call it, regular individual, average people. The business people are bad too. The business corporation, big corporation. I mean, you tell the small guy to be good, don't do bad things. Well, the big ones are doing bad things too. What's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger. As soon as he became governor, they were signing some sort of a bill or something. All these pharmaceutical companies, they got together because you had right, or they were going to give a right for people who buy medication from Canada because it's much cheaper. As soon as Arnold Schwarzenegger got elected, he vetoed that. He signed it and he dropped that law. He made it void. That law void. Pharmaceutical companies, they start giving money, and look at his behavior. More I'm saying it is, the small guys are doing evil things, the big ones are doing even bigger evil things. To who you gonna say, be good and behave? To which one? From where you gonna start? But this is, I have to go slowly in these things, and slowly explaining those things. Be good, because that's a request. It's not easy. It's a request from God, from the Creator. God, who has created you and who has created me, He wants people to be like or similar to His Son, Jesus. There's a lot of disgusting things. You watch some videos on third world countries. They pour gas on people and they throw a match. I mean, you won't believe your eyes. Honest to God, I'm telling you. There's some videos you won't. I couldn't. There are many videos I couldn't watch. The message is be good. That's the message is. Jesus said, don't do to others what you don't want. Whatever you don't want somebody to do to you. Be good. Love another person. Love another person, another human being, as much as you love yourself. Well, first love God with all your heart. Then love your co-being, your other human being, as much as you love yourself. It's a commandment. Amen. Padre Pio said, Padre Pio for me is the greatest saint who has ever lived. Padre Pio said, a mother makes food and he gives the same food to all of his children. Some like it, some don't. It's something similar to this. This teaching that's coming from God, yes, is giving to the public. Some like it, some don't. but it's coming from your Creator, and you have to follow it. You have to follow Jesus because it's an order from God. It's a request from God. This is what God is requesting from me. Just take it easy now, because there is a lot of things. This is not for one person. It's not a one person thing. It's really general for the entire population. One person cannot become good and expect the whole world to change. No, that's unrealistic. Okay, thank you.